All right, we are here with the You Matter Self-Care Summit for you working mums out there. And we are joined with Debbie, who's obviously the host of the event. So I've been asked to host Debbie for this one. And she is the owner of Debbie Spink Holistic Therapies, and she's going to join us and talk to us all about aromatherapy. So the oils and things of that nature, right? But how it can benefit us for our wellness, because there's loads of things they can do, and Debbie is the brains behind the oils. So Deb, when you're ready, away you go.
Right, great, thanks Mike, and thanks to everyone watching here. And I'm here today to speak to you about wellness and the effects of aromatherapy oils on the mind and the spirit. So to go through, I'm going through about how smell is the underestimated sense of all the five senses, how it relates to the limbic system and the brain, and how it's so powerful in influencing that, how we connect that to stress and overwhelm, fear and anxiety, how we can go through smell training and actually impact the responses that our brain brings, how to all the benefits of the oils and what it can do for the mind. And then I'll discuss a bit about the aromatherapy oils and the different properties that they have, and wrap it up there. So that's the plan. So first of all, the underestimated strength of the smell response, because quite often if you get used to the smells around you, so it's you quite quickly become also almost immune to what you smell. So it's the impact of new smells on you. You have more smell receptors than any other sense in your body. So it really is powerful. If you think about how you can smell things from the past, if you get a whiff of maybe lavender, you might smell and think back, you immediately recall your Auntie Beryl or something, who always wore lavender perfume, things like that. When I smell fresh cut grass, I recall a time when I was in my childhood at high school, and I was sat on the grass banking, lovely warm sunny day, making daisy chains. The sun was out, there's a guy cutting the grass, so it really can trigger those memories and take you back. So it really is a powerful sense. Just grab a drink. So there's also associations that you get with smells. For me, the smell of gingerbread and brandy, could I have a bit of brandy, at Christmas, things like that. So there's all those associations that you get, pine needles as well for Christmas, and there'll be other associations that you have that are particular to you and trigger all those memories. So with that, I'll show you, I hope you can see this, got a diagram of the brain. So we're in fact doing a bit of biology. I apologise for that, and apologise for the fact that all the writing is back to front now that I'm online. So it does say limbic system, and you've got the hypothalamus, which is down here, and that is part of developing your memories. The thalamus is here, and that is to do with the autonomic nervous system, everything, breathing, heart rate, respiration, things like that. The olfactory bulb here is right towards the front, a little nodule, and that goes straight into the limbic system. So that's your smell, goes from the nose, the nasal system there, straight to the olfactory bulb, straight round to the centre of the brain in the limbic system. The amygdala here is the centre for emotions, often like fear emotions, quite highly triggered in the amygdala. And the hippocampus is for short-term and long-term memory, so those two are there. So as you can imagine, the brain really functions, the central core of the brain, the limbic system, is all to do with behaviour, emotions and memories. So the nasal system feeds into the olfactory bulb, straight into this central core, which is like, it's known as the paleo-mammalian brain, which is the sort of ancient brain, the old brain that's very reactive, very protective. It's what you call like your gut instinct, intuition, and comes almost from your subconscious, all your feelings, things like that. So that's the centre of that brain. And then surrounding that is the neo-mammalian brain, which is like your rational thoughts, your conscious thoughts, logic, making sense of things and problem solving. So that's the outer side of the brain. So when you get a input from the nasal system through to the olfactory bulb, the first thing you do is you feel that the influence on your brain. So it's, you feel it, then you'll remember connections to your past, or if you've experienced this smell before, does it smell nice, does it not smell nice? And then after that is the language. You'll only be able to describe it or put words and thoughts to it afterwards. So that's the process of where the brain works. You feel, you remember, and then you get the language after. So science tells us that they can actually see smells affecting the brain in brain scans. It shows all the neurotransmitters lighting up in your brain. So it's that's where it all connects. So when you feel emotions, you might be reacting to triggers from the environment. So like stress and overwhelm, you feel it building up and building up. I have this morning, trying to get everything sorted this morning, and you feel that stress building up and overwhelm until you just have that response afterwards. You think and feel, and then you say, right, this is a feeling, but it's going to go away, and rationalize it out that way. Whereas sometimes with immediate response, fear and anxiety, that goes straight to a response of the flight or fight. If you get anxious, you might think it's come from nowhere. There might be a remembrance trigger somewhere, or some environmental factor that you're not even aware of that actually impacts. So that's the way that the body deals with it, and going straight into flight or fight. The sympathetic response centre will then kick in with dilation of the pupils, the surge of adrenaline, and feeling like you get butterflies and need to run away from things, and feel like you need to act, and all your stomach and sort of non-essential responses, reproduction and things, are depressed, and all your muscles are pumped and ready to go. So with that, we would look at aromatherapy to try and train the brain to kick in before the this response on anxiety, stress and fear can take hold. So smell training can work and help improve memory. It works on that memory section of the limbic section. It can help detecting danger. So a burning, gas leak, anything like that. If you can't smell, that's going to be depressed in you. It can improve the sense of the experience of food. So obviously, if your smell is repressed, then it affects your taste as well. They're very closely linked. So that, for instance, if you've got a cold, people that have unfortunately had symptoms of COVID have said that they have a reduced capacity to smell or taste. Indeed, my brother had a bad bout at kind of the same time as Boris Johnson when he was at his worst. My brother was, but fortunately he didn't need to go in hospital with it, but he did have it pretty bad. And he reported that he couldn't smell, he couldn't taste, and it just made everything boring and bland. The only thing that he could taste was chocolate, which is good news for us chocoholics. So there is, it is worth having chocolate every so often to, it picks your mood up as well, as long as you don't overindulge. So yeah, so if you get a cold and it affects your system, it depresses it all and you end up just miserable. It can help affect depression as well, which is why you end up feeling down because your senses are dulled. People have reported if they can't smell, they feel their emotions are blunted and dulled and they don't feel responsive in themselves. So if you have a lack of smell in general, then that's known as anosmia. And some people with those symptoms, it can affect things such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So it's worth getting that checked out. But you can reboot and train up the sensory systems of the mind with like smell training and aromatherapy. Had a client who came to me absolutely delighted. She said, since I've been coming to you and experiencing all these lovely smells and that, I've actually been able to start smelling again. I've not smelled things properly for years. I've not had this experience, but having all the smells and experiencing them has really sort of kicked in that response. So it is possible to get it back if you've got a nausea. It is possible to alter your mood with aromatherapy oils, and it's a natural treatment for stress and anxiety. So if you're experiencing the emotions, you can help just calm. It works with reducing palpitations, a lot of it, and a lot of the oils are uplifting, happy oils, really bring in the absolute sort of essence of just being able to change that mood. And in some cases, if you've done specific training to prevent that mood as soon as you feel like you're feeling anxious, if you smell that smell by the association that I've talked about, you can induce that, that you're actually, it's the receptors will think, well, that smell's associated with what I am when I'm in a calm state. So therefore, that must be the environmental status quo at the moment, because I'm smelling that. So that's the way that aromatherapy oils can really powerfully help people that have got anxiety and stress, and pick people up if they've got depression. They'll be suppressed and sort of deflated in depression, so they need oils, different oils to pick them up. So that's the way that smell training can work and help you with the symptoms. Excuse me. So I'll just go through some of the oils now, and I'll show you the way to smell the oils, because when I first started, it was all about, I'd sit there and go, really trying to smell. And when you try to smell, the more you try to smell, it overwhelms the system, and it ends up just flooding the system, and you soon get nose blindness. So it is far better to just take the lid off and just give it a quick whiff, and just keep doing that. And then you'll gradually get through more and more molecules naturally, and smell that naturally without overwhelming the nasal system. So if you want to reset your system, I've got some coffee, instant coffee here, but coffee grinds, fresh coffee grinds and beans will do just as well. So a quick sniff of that will kind of reset the system. Like perfumers sometimes say that it's preferable just to walk away for a few minutes. You can only smell about 3 smells, 3 aromas before your nose gets tired. You experience nose blindness, where everything smells the same, or you feel like you can't smell it at all. When I was, unfortunately, at my mum's funeral a couple of years ago, I had some de-stress oils on the tissue, and I was smelling those, and I did a eulogy. As I stood up to do the eulogy, I thought, I can't smell them, they're not there. I was like, you know, panicking, thinking they should be there, and they've gone, they're not. And but I stood up, did my eulogy, and then sat back down, smelt the tissue, and I thought, oh, actually, they do smell quite strong. It was just experience it, because I'd sat and inhaled deeply, trying to get as much in the system. It did sort of overwhelm and get nose blindness. So it's important to be able to smell the aromas in the correct way to get the most benefit from them. It's the same if you're going out to try a perfume. If you spray it all over you, that's all you're going to be able to smell. And the perfumes do change over time. So an initial one, you're going to get the top notes first, then there's the middle notes and base notes. So a perfume or a fragrance aroma with several of the aromatherapy oils is going to be layered up with these different top, middle and base elements. So it's important to get the balance of those in, and that really brings out a full round-bodied fragrance, but it also means you experience the different layers of the perfume at in different stages at a different time. So that's the best way to smell a perfume. We do have the called mouillé strips, the blotting paper strips, and they're the best way to just experience a perfume, just smell. Or if you're looking at a combination, you would waft all 3 of the separate oils together to see how they would combine as a possibility for a fragrance. So I'll go through the actual oils. Many of the citrus oils are uplifting and happy oils to really stimulate the system. Grapefruit is a great one for stress, both physical and mental. It's used a lot in sports therapy for training athletes, but it does work with stress and nervous exhaustion, nervous tension as well. Bergamot is a really, really good scent to have for de-stress. And that is, it is a citrus oil, but it's fairly well-rounded and subtle. It's not particularly, not obviously sort of like the mandarin and the sweet orange, which I've got here. I've got sweet orange. That's very sort of orangey, of course. So it does affect which oils you prefer. So, and then neroli, which is a bit more sort of leafy, twiggy like. That's in a smaller bottle. It's more expensive. The tiny bottles here are more expensive. You get the 5 ml and the sort of the 2.5 ml and the 5 ml bottles are sort of standard. The citrus tend to go off quite quickly, sort of 3 to 6 months. So need to be replaced quite regularly because they do oxidize rapidly, which means that they can cause irritation on the skin because they've oxidized after that. So you do need to be careful. They're also the bergamot that I have is FCF free, and that means that it's had a chemical removed that is phototoxic, because a lot of the citrus can be phototoxic. So if it's a hot sunny day and you've put it on your face or your skin, it can cause irritation or even like staining of the skin. So it's not one to go on a sunbed or go out sunbathing after you've had citrus oils and expose your skin if you're putting them on the actual skin as a massage. If you do put them on your skin, you'd need to mix them with the carrier oil, something like sweet almond, grapeseed are the common ones. There's a whole array of other carrier oils such as coconut, avocado, rosehip. There's so many other oils, sesame seed, apricot kernel. So obviously those can all be mixed. They all have different properties and like vitamins and minerals, because carrier oils are from the actual nut. So all the proteins and vitamins and minerals that they get that the plant would use for germination in those nuts are available in the carrier oils. So that's the citrus. We have some exotics here. Vetiver is an exotic grass. Now that smells a bit green and fresh, but it's got a deeper sort of earthy tone. Vetiver is very good as like for stress, just sedative. It's great for sleep. So that's one that is highly recommended. Sandalwood. Sandalwood is very. The sandalwood tree takes about 30 years to mature enough to use, and it's the heartwood that they use for the oils. So unfortunately the tree has to be felled. It's not like one of the resins that you can just bleed some off and keep the tree available. So it's grown quite a lot in Australia. So they are trying to now manage woodlands rather than just using wild sandalwood, which is unfortunately getting quite rare in the wild state. So that is why try and get oils that are from managed woodlands and the Australian sandalwood rather than the Indian, which is posing quite a threat to the wild population. Benzoin is another tree oil. It's very subtle and very good for stress. It's good underlying tone to a fragrance. How are we doing for time? Not bad. So let me see. Geranium, great for women's balancing systems. I'm not going to smell this because it's not one of my favourite ones. I wish you guys could smell all these lovely fragrances. If you get a chance to buy some, then it's well worth getting some in and experimenting. So geranium is great for balancing women's system. It's great for stress. Lavender. Lavender's like the king of all the essential oils. It's just great for everything. It's great for sedatives, really giving you that feeling of calm. Try not to overdo it. If you put too much lavender in on your system, if you lather yourself in it, it's more stimulating. So less is more with lavender. If you want a good night's sleep, or if you're stressed and want to calm down, just a couple of drops is all you need for lavender. But it's great for all sorts of things, for the immune system, for like healing, and when it was discovered, Gert Voss was a German scientist, doctor, and he was experimenting. He had a big vat of lavender solution nearby, and he really badly burnt his hand. So his instinct was like plunge it in something, and it was the lavender that he plunged it in. And he realised that it was actually, it healed a lot quicker, it didn't blister or scar. So it's really got amazing properties as lavender, which is why it's probably the most used essential oil, and there's lots of different types as well. So the lavandin is slightly more camphorous, and so if you're doing an inhalation, that could be one that you would want to try, as well as the original lavender true. Clary sage is great for like menopausal women. It's great to regulate the system, great for stress, great for calming and soothing, but it doesn't go well with alcohol. I don't mean drinking it with alcohol. I mean if you have some drinks and the clary sage inhalation as well, that's going to amplify that. So that's the only sort of caveat with that. And there's a couple of oils that like it might affect blood pressure. So if you've got blood pressure symptoms, high blood pressure or low blood pressure, just to be cautious about that, and just take a low dose at first and see how you get on with that one. We've got ylang ylang, which is, I love this, it's a very deep, musky, dark, sort of floral scent, kind of like the jasmine, which is over here. Jasmine's very kind of similar, but I think the ylang ylang is more of a deeper depth to it. So they're two highly sort of floral fragrances. Patchouli is great for lifting the spirits and dispelling lethargy. It'll sort of perk you up, reduce stress and overwhelm, but without having the sedative, depressant, suppressing qualities. And then chamomile, which is not one of my favourites as well, I have to be honest. Geranium and chamomile are very strong. Some people love them, some people hate them. That is why it is really personal to try and choose a scent and choose a blend that is right for you. And then we're going to this sort of spiritual. If you want something to enhance your spirit and something to meditate with, then you're looking at the we can use several of the blends of the oils here to blend, but ideally there's for the backbone of the scent, there's frankincense, obviously being used in a lot of spiritual, religious ceremonies and things throughout the ages, and that smells really good, really like fresh woody aroma, and that is used, as I say, in all it's been used for ages, down from the Egyptians and the Romans and Greeks all use this, so that's a great one for sort of purifying the spirit and bringing calm and tranquility. It's great for your skin as well. A lot of it's found in skin products. Rosewood is quite a nice sort of mid-tone tree blend. A lot of the trees can be a bit sort of medical, think pine and things like that, have medical type aromas, eucalyptus. But the rosewood is very nice and rounded and quite subtle really for a tree. Myrrh is another one, obviously, that's being used, and that's got quite subtle, sort of earthy, down-to-earth undertones to it. So they're the ones that would use if you wanted to build up on those for a meditation blend. So all these oils will work on the mind. If the best way to have an oil for the mind or meditation is to get, I don't know if you can see this, use an inhalation. You can put a few drops into some water. If you've got any asthma or any chest complaints, you know, respiratory things, then use cold water. If you've, for instance, if you've got a cold, you want eucalyptus, and put your head over the bowl and nice steaming, warm. It doesn't have to be boiling hot, but that can work well on the system. That's for sort of, you can use that for the mind as well. So if you've got feeling anxious and stuff and want to get it into the system, it gets rapidly in, as we say, how smell triggers the limbic system. It's within seconds, if not more rapidly. So I shall demonstrate here a little blend for you. So you can use the atomizers and diffusers like this. I'm using Roman chamomile first. That's quite strong. You put 2 to 4 drops in one of these type things. So it's some of those. Cedarwood. sorry, 2 to 6 drops, and some mandarin. So there we've got, like, the mandarin is a top note, the chamomile, the Roman chamomile is a bit more fruity, a bit more fresh than the and less overwhelming than the German chamomile, which has got a blue tint to it, so it's quite noticeable. And then the cedarwood is a nice rounded, soothing undertone, the base note there. So you can just put that on and let it diffuse into the background for a couple of hours or something, if you're feeling that you need to de-stress, maybe on an evening. So that's the actual oils. So if there's any questions, please let me know. If you want to know more about the smell training, I do a one-to-one program. It's a 6-week program to either help you kick in with the smelling again, so that if you've got a nausea, if you think your sense of smell is really dulled and not working, this smell training system can help you to boot up your system again. There's also we can use it for stress and anxiety. So if you feel as though you need to stop being anxious and it's getting a real problem, then this 6-week training program can help you. So that's light up your limbic system. So if you're interested in that, if you want to know further details, let me know. It's a personalised program. We go through all the scents and extensive consultation, which will personalise it to you. So if everyone's happy with that, and I think we are all done. Jen's phone, somebody's hand up. Can you ask a question in the chat box, or? Unmute. There we go. Do you have a question, Jen?
All right. You know, you're talking about the atomizers and diffusers. Would you put water with them, or oils, or carrier oil, and then the drops in, or? If
for the diffusers and things, there'll be instructions with it, but they usually have water in, and then it permeates through the air with that. There is also like the traditional oil burners with the candle under, and there you just put the essential oils in there, because the carrier are like thick.
Hi Jen, I didn't know you were there, love.
Oh, hello, Alicia.
Hello, I can help you with all that, love. Don't worry.
Okay. I was just checking.
Any other questions?
Debbie, I've got one flower. To be honest, I've been off and on the flipping phone all during the time. The doll's gone, this is gone, and everything is gone. I've just discovered I've got gout, i.e. very severe arthritis. We should use things like and the warming blends for it.
You can do, yes, yeah. I can certainly recommend the oils to help try and do sort some of the symptoms out for you.
Okay, then I'll have a personal consultation then.
Right. Yeah, just message me afterwards for that.
Will do, darling. Thank you very much. I right enjoyed that. What I got of it.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to end the.
I enjoyed it too.
And I'll thank you everyone for listening and watching.
Yeah, I need to ask you, Debbie, when I do my talk on